Hello students, today you are going to learn about the structure, composition and the nutritive value of oilseeds and nuts. Nuts are defined as dry, single-seeded fruits with high oil content which are enclosed in a tough outer layer. Many seeds also fall into this category such as sunflower and safflower seeds. Some, like peanuts, fit more than one description because they are both a legume and an oilseed. Nuts and seeds were an important energy and nutrient source throughout history. Some early civilizations relied on nuts as a staple food before cereal grains. Almonds and pistachio nuts are mentioned as far back as biblical times, and references to other nuts and seeds abound in the literature. Historians hypothesize that ancient societies about 10,000 years ago centered on the harvesting of nuts, which may then have fostered agriculture. Predictable growth because nuts grow on trees, long storage life especially during winter, and generous nutrient profiles are all the advantages of nuts to ancient cultures. Interestingly, ancient Romans gave sugared almonds as gift at weddings, and this custom is still used today. Peanuts, which date back to about 800 BC, much later joined the Apollo astronauts to the moon in 1969. A description of nuts and seeds. A nut may be hard, dry, single-seeded fruit, partially or totally enclosed in a husk that remains with the fruit as it ripens. A layman's definition of a nut would be a seed or a fruit with an edible kernel inside a shell. A good example of a nut would be a walnut, chestnut or hazelnut. The term nut is applied to many hard-shelled fruits that may be stored dry, but many of these are not true nuts like the peanut or groundnuts, for example, is not a true nut, it is a legume. The almond is actually the pit of a drupe like the fruit. The common nuts of commerce are the Brazil nut, cashew nut, chestnut, coconut, hazelnut, kola nut, lychee nut, macadamia nut, pecans, pine nuts, pistachios and walnuts. Peanuts are commonly included in the tree nut group because their composition, particularly their fatty acid profile, is similar to tree nuts. It should be remembered that peanuts are legumes. The pod develops above the ground and it is slowly pushed into the soil as it develops. In nutritional surveys, peanuts are often included in the same group as nuts. The production of edible tree nuts, not including coconut, is estimated to be 1.6 million tons on a shelled basis. This is made up of chestnuts, 28%, walnuts, 21%, almonds, 13%, hazelnuts, 11%, pecans, 7%, cashew nut 5%, pistachios 3%, with all the other nuts making up the remaining 12%. The world production figures of nuts are notoriously inaccurate as large amounts of nuts are known to be consumed without passing through commercial trade channels. It is possible that up to 40% of the world production is not accounted for. Nuts and seeds are extremely nutrient dense. They provide generous amounts of calories, fats, complex carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, minerals and fiber. Trace minerals like magnesium, zinc, selenium and copper are important but may be underconsumed in today's largely processed Western diet and even in some plant-based diets. Nuts and oilseeds are a reliable and very delicious source of these essential nutrients. Plus, more than just a way to meet basic nutrient needs, nuts and oilseeds have been shown to protect against disease, phytochemicals, active compounds that help fight illness in nuts and seeds includes ellagic acid, flavonoids, phenolic compounds, luteolin, isoflavones and tocotrienols. Nuts also contain plant sterols thought to help keep cholesterol levels in check and reduce cancer risk. Nuts are also a good source of dietary fiber and provide a wide range of essential nutrients, including several B group of vitamins including folate, vitamin E, minerals such as calcium, iron, zinc, potassium and magnesium, and antioxidant minerals like selenium, manganese and copper, plus other phytochemicals such as antioxidant compounds, resveratrol and flavonoids and plant sterols. Nuts are naturally low in sodium, contain potassium and most contain some carbohydrate in the form of natural sugars. Now, chestnuts are different because they are rich in low glycemic index carbohydrates and they are low in fat, making them more like a grain than a tree nut. Now, let us look at the details of certain other components. First, fatty acid contents. Most nuts provide large quantities of healthy monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats, that is 49 to 74% of the total fat, and moderate amounts of protein, which is around 14 to 26%. Chestnuts are low in fat. Walnuts are high in two polyunsaturated fatty acids, linoleic acid and linolenic acid. Now, monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fatty acids are known to have a cholesterol lowering effect when consumed in a reasonable amount in the diet. Now, macadamia nuts are interesting as they contain a very low content of polyunsaturated fatty acids combined with a very high content of monounsaturated fatty acids. Coming to the dietary fiber, the dietary fiber content of nuts is moderately high, ranging from 5 to 9% by weight. Now, dietary fiber is known to have cholesterol lowering properties. Protein, nuts are good sources of protein ranging from 14 to 26%. They also contain high levels of the essential amino acid arginine and low levels of lysine. Arginine is used to make protein in the body, but it also can be degraded to nitric oxide. Now, nitric oxide is a potent endogenous vasodilator with similar action to nitroglycerine. Nitric oxide therefore helps to relax the smooth muscle in the walls of the arteries. Nitric oxide also appears to inhibit the platelet aggregation, which helps to prevent the development of atherogenic plaques. This is the first stage in the formation of a blockage in the arteries. Vitamin E. Nuts are an excellent source of the antioxidant vitamins, particularly the vitamins like alpha tocopherols. In contrast, walnuts contain about 290 milligrams of the L-tocopherols. Now, antioxidant vitamins protect low density lipoprotein, that is LDL cholesterol, from oxidation to atherogenic products. Now, when LDL gets oxidized, it has the ability to form plaques on the walls of the arteries. The basic function of tocopherol is to trap free radicals, thus preventing the oxidation of unsaturated fatty acids in the tissues. Note that nut oils contain reasonable amounts of unsaturated fatty acids. Other plant oils contain no cholesterol, but they do contain a range of plant or what we call the phytosterols. One example is cetosterol, which is found in the largest amount in nut oils. Now, phytosterols are known to act as antioxidant, which is important in maintaining the stability of the oil during storage and prevent it from getting rancid and help in its stability. In the digestive tract, it appears that the phytosterols combine with cholesterol from other foods eaten at the same time and prevent the cholesterol from being absorbed. This has the positive effect of reducing blood cholesterol levels. Therefore, the phytosterols, they are nowadays being concentrated and being made into capsule form so that individuals can consume it directly. But always remember, getting any benefit of food in the most natural form or any phytonutrient or antioxidant or vitamins directly from food is better than consuming it in the form of supplements. Now minerals. Nuts contain a good range of essential minerals and are high in copper. Peanuts, walnuts and almonds range from 0.8 to 1.2 milligrams per 100 grams. Now, most nuts contain a significant amount of fat. Nuts contain high levels of monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats, making them a healthy food to eat. Now, regular consumption of nuts reduces blood cholesterol levels and the risk of coronary heart disease. Each nut variety contains its own unique combination of nutrients and is generally rich in a few nutrients such as, for example, almonds. Almonds are high in protein, calcium and vitamin E. Brazil nuts, they are rich in fiber and selenium, and just 2 Brazil nuts a day provides 100% RDI for selenium for an adult. Cashew nuts, they contain high amounts of non-heme or plant-based iron and a low GI rating, that is glycemic index rating, that is they take a long time to be digested. Chestnuts, they are low in GI, fiber and vitamin C, although much vitamin C is lost during cooking. Hazelnuts, they contain fiber, potassium, folate, vitamin E. Macadamia nuts, highest in monounsaturated fats, thiamine and manganese. Pecans, rich in fiber and antioxidants. Pine nuts, vitamin E, manganese and the amino acid arginine. Pistachios, one of the most famous across the world, contain protein, potassium, plant sterols and the antioxidant resveratrol, important for eye health as well as the health of the heart. Walnuts, which are being promoted as good for the heart, contain or they are rich in alpha linoleic acid, plant omega-3 acids and antioxidants. Now, sunflower seeds are the richest source of vitamin E, and they are used as sunflower seeds in any form like roasted etc. in the Western culture, but we extract an oil and we use it for cooking, therefore it is high in vitamin E. This oil that we use is high in vitamin E. Eating a variety of nuts and seeds daily ensures that you are getting a healthy balance of all these compounds and other important nutrients. Now, how much and what are the effect of this on the heart? Now, cardioprotective effect of nuts and seeds, specifically to the heart. So, it seems a number of heart healthy nutrients in nuts work together to achieve this heart protective effect. Now, studies suggest it is not mere theory, but studies which have been conducted on individuals suggest that consuming about 30 grams, a handful of nuts per day, may reduce the risk of developing heart disease by 30 to 50% and reduce the risk of death from heart disease by around 20%. Now, this is based on the high proportion of healthy monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats in the nuts and the low proportion of saturated fats, and the results of studies comparing heart disease rates among people who eat nuts with those who do not eat nuts. The various cardioprotective factors in the nuts include health promoting monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats that help regulate blood cholesterol, fiber and plant sterols that help reduce cholesterol reabsorption from the gut, arginine, an amino acid which is converted to nitric oxide in the body, which helps keep the blood vessels elastic and healthy, thereby reducing the risk of atherosclerosis. That is, atherosclerosis is nothing but easy to understand when I say it is the hardening of the arteries which prevents the normal blood flow through the arteries. Now, antioxidant vitamins and minerals also are present in the nuts, as I told you early, but those which are related to the cardioprotective effect include vitamin E, copper, manganese, selenium and zinc, and other antioxidant compounds such as flavonoids and resveratrol that reduce oxidation and inflammation of the LDL and inflammation of the walls of the arteries. Naturally, they are low in sodium and high in potassium, which is very ideal to protect the heart, which assists in maintaining healthy blood pressure. Other health benefits other than cardioprotective effect include, although more research is required, preliminary studies have indicated that nuts may play a role in reducing the risk of gallstones, reducing age-related macular degeneration of the eye, which can lead to blindness, maintaining bone health, that is prevention of osteoporosis, slowing the aging of the brain, reducing the cancer risk. As you can see, they have a wide ranging health benefits apart from the cardioprotective effect. Now, everybody will wonder as to what is the ideal amount of nuts that we should consume. As I mentioned earlier, nearly every day 30 grams of a combination of all the nuts in order to get the benefit of all the nuts. And how much is 30 grams related to each nut, we shall just see. Now, approximately 30 grams is nothing but a small handful, and I always tell that when you take nuts into your hand into a form of a fist, you should be able to close your palm very easily, or fingers around the nuts. It is not that really a big handful, but a small handful around which you can close your fingers. Now, let us say in amounts how much it is. Now, 30 grams is equal to 20 almonds, 15 cashew nuts or 20 hazelnuts, 15 macadamia nuts, 15 pecans, a tablespoon of pine nuts, 30 pistachio kernels, 9 walnuts and a small handful of mixed nuts, or about 2 of each of the 10 nut varieties, except chestnut, which isn't eaten raw. Chestnuts are always cooked. So, these are the healthy amount of nuts that can be consumed. Not just to be eaten as nuts, but in various forms how we eat nuts. Let us talk about them. Culinary uses of nuts. Edible nuts and seeds can be used in the form of fresh nuts, that is as soon as we get from the trees also, then raw, roasted or boiled forms. For example, everybody has heard of boiled peanuts, or fried cashew nuts, salted or sweetened almonds. So, nuts can be sprinkled over desserts, particularly sundaes in the Western cookery, and also ice creams. And in our Indian cookery, we do use them to sprinkle over kheers and payasam, and even various chocolates, as you know, to enjoy. Now, they can be employed in confectionery, as in addition to breads, biscuits, preparation of sweets, muffins and cakes. Now, you know very well, we have the cashew nut barfi, the pista barfi, etc. Those can be our Indian sweets. They can be used as a thickening agent in gravies, especially our Indian gravies, where we prepare both vegetarian and non-vegetarian curries. We use poppy seeds, cashew nuts and coconut to thicken the gravies. Sweets and desserts such as barfis, chikki, etc. are prepared. Very famous is the groundnut chikki, and we also have sesame or til seed chikki. Nuts are used in the preparation of beverages such as badam milk, and nuts like groundnuts and coconut are used to make chutneys as supplement to our various dishes. Now, many kinds of nuts are also used to make nutritious butter like peanut butter and milk, such as the dry fruits which are used to extract milk include almonds, almond milk, peanut milk, soya milk and etc. Now, let us look at the digestibility of nuts, because very often we are told that it is always better to soak the almonds and consume them rather than eat the almonds raw. Now, it is true, because nuts are indigestible if they are taken in more quantities or they are poorly chewed or masticated. Digestibility of nuts can be improved by soaking prior to consumption, because nuts are concentrated feeds with little waste or roughage. Therefore, either they can be soaked in water overnight or a couple of hours, or they can be dehydrated or roasted, which helps in improving their digestibility as they are concentrated sources of nutrients. Storage. The unshelled nuts keep longer time than shelled nuts. Nuts are sold in the shelled form. They are packed in tin cans and sterilized. An antioxidant is sometimes added to salted nuts because nuts being high in fat, they tend to undergo rancidity. Therefore, sometimes they are salted and sold. Rancidity can be delayed by keeping the nuts in airtight containers under refrigeration conditions. Now, let us study some details of certain nuts which we use very often and also oil seeds in our country and in some other countries. Soybean, we will talk about it in detail. Glycine max, botanically known as, this originated in Asia, but now the main producers are the United States and Brazil. However, the soybeans produced by these countries are mainly used commercially for oil and as animal feeds. They are not widely grown in Africa or Latin America. Soybeans contain up to 40% protein, 18% fat and 20% carbohydrate. The main protein is of higher biological value quality than that from other plant sources. That is why it is very popular across the world, especially in the countries where there is lot of poverty and undernutrition and malnutrition, where this becomes a very inexpensive source of complete protein almost in the diet. Now, soybeans used in a wide variety of ways are very important in the diets of Chinese and in those of some other Asian countries. Now, in China, soybeans are made into a variety of tasty dishes which supplement the staple food of rice or other cereal. Soya products such as tofu, which is soybean curd, and nowadays it is available in the Indian markets also, and it can be a replacement for paneer, which is high in fat. And tempeh, a fermented product, are important in Indonesian cuisine and popular elsewhere in Asia. Soybeans have not become a popular food in Africa or Latin America, where there is little local knowledge of the best methods of preparing them. People lacking experience with soybeans find them difficult to prepare and cook. Where soybeans are grown, they can be locally processed for use in the country as an enrichment of cereal flours, as an infant food, or for institutional and school feeding programs. Now, in our country, we have texturized or processed soya products in the form of soya nuggets, soya keema or soya chunks, which are becoming very popular, and we also get tofu, as I said earlier. So, whatever suits our Indian palate, we have turned the use of soya into those products. The oil, we also use oil in our homes. It can be exported, and the protein rich residue cake can be utilized in the country. Groundnuts or peanuts, and surprisingly they are also called as monkey nuts because they are very monkeys are fond of these nuts. So, groundnuts contain much more fat than other legumes, often 45%, and also more niacin, 18 milligrams per 100 grams, and thiamine, but relatively little carbohydrate, only 12%. The protein content is a little higher than that of most other pulses, that is 27%. Now, most other pulses ranges between 20 to 22%. Groundnuts are an unusually nutritious food with more protein than animal meat. They are energy dense because of their oil, and they are rich in vitamins and minerals. If every child, woman and man in Africa ate a handful of groundnuts per day in addition to their normal diet, the Africa would be rid of most existing malnutrition. So, that is the example I wanted to give to understand the importance of groundnuts as a source of protein. Now, groundnuts are fairly widely grown in the tropics. They supply much needed fat, which is high in energy and assists in the absorption of carotene as well as serving other functions. In predominantly maize diets, where most of the people, especially again African countries, they depend on maize as a source of staple food, relatively small quantities of groundnuts with their high content of niacin, and because maize is deficient in niacin. Relatively small quantities of groundnuts with their high content of niacin and also of protein, which includes the amino acid tryptophan, can prevent pellagra. When groundnuts are added to children's diets, their high protein and energy content serves to prevent protein energy malnutrition, which is therefore the various food mixes which are developed by research organizations like NI and etc. They include groundnuts as a source of protein or one of the main ingredients in these foods. Groundnuts are usually utilized for oil extraction, and the residue, which is called the groundnut cake, is used for animal feed. But in the United States, a good proportion is consumed as peanut butter. In many countries, groundnuts are consumed roasted, boiled or cooked in other ways. Groundnuts, if damaged during harvest or if poorly stored in damp conditions, may be attacked by a mold which is known as Aspergillus flavus. This fungus produces a poisonous toxin known as aflatoxin, which has been shown to cause liver damage in animals and to kill poultry which is fed on the groundnuts. It may be toxic also for humans and may be a cause of liver cancer. Coconut, very indigenous to our country also, is the most important nut crop in Africa. Its origins are uncertain. The nut, being light and impervious to water, no doubt drifted across many seas to germinate on a new shore. It is now extensively cultivated across the world. When it is green, the nut contains about half a liter of water. This is a very refreshing and hygienic drink, but apart from a little calcium and carbohydrate, it has not much of nutritive value and also certain amount of other salts. The white flesh, however, is rich in fat. The flesh of the coconut is usually sun dried into copra. The oil from copra is used both for cooking and for making soap. Copra itself is used in the tropics and elsewhere as an addition to many dishes. It is an important ingredient in a variety of cuisines from Thailand to Saudi Arabia and also in our own country, as we all know. Coconut oil has the disadvantage of containing a relatively high proportion of saturated fatty acids, but it is rich in fatty acid known as lauric acid, which is now being considered as one of the important fatty acids which gives very good qualities to coconut oil. The coconut sap in many countries is fermented to yield alcoholic beverages. Cashew nut is produced on a small tree that originated in dry areas of the America. It is widely grown in the tropics and the nuts are mainly exported. They are rich in fat, 45%, and contain 20% protein and 26% carbohydrate. The edible swollen stalk of the nut contains good quantities of vitamin C, which we call it as the cashew fruit. Now, cashew nuts are a used local food but too expensive for most people. Oilseeds, sesame or til as we call it locally, or it is called as beniseed in Africa, is grown fairly widely throughout the world and is largely used for oil extraction. But in our country, we use it in multiple ways. The seeds, which are of various colors, we have the white sesame, the black sesame and slightly brownish sesame, contain about 50% fat and 20% protein. They are also rich in calcium and contain useful quantities of carotene, iron and B vitamins. Therefore, we suggest people to consume what we call til in our local language or sesame when they are suffering with anemia, to incorporate into their diets in the form of a combination with jaggery in the form of chickpea etc., which helps as a natural supplement of iron. Sunflower seeds. Sunflower oil has the advantage of being relatively high in polyunsaturated fatty acids. The seeds contain about 36% oil, which is less than sesame, 23% protein and some calcium, iron, carotene and B vitamins. Now, flaxseed is very popular nowadays because it is used in bakery products and provides a nutty flavor, but nutritionally flaxseed has great benefits because it is a very rich source of omega 3 and omega 6 fatty acids. Flaxseed consumption may lower both total and LDL cholesterol concentration, as I said, because of its low saturated fat content and high in PUFA and phytosterol content, and it has one mucilage property due to its fiber. Flaxseed has 22% protein. It is a good source of omega 3 fatty acid. It is rich in a compound called as lignin, which prevents cancer. Let us talk about oilseed cakes, because all these oil seeds, once the oil is extracted, what is left out is rich in fiber and protein, and it cannot be wasted because it is a very natural rich resource. So, the meal obtained after oil is removed from seed is richer in protein than the seed itself because of reduced concentration. Therefore, oilseed cake is used as feed for cattle. But protein rich meal is being used for the development of multipurpose food, which is used in feeding programs after purification of these oilseed cakes. Now, sesame seeds are rich in methionine also. Oil extraction. The nuts and oil seeds are cleaned, dehusked, and oil is extracted by mechanical pressing, screw pressing, pre-press solvent extraction and direct solvent extraction. Protein isolate. Now, the oilseed cakes, as I told you, are rich in protein. Therefore, a process has been standardized for preparation of or isolation of protein, and after oil extraction, the residue or the oil cake is treated with dilute sodium hydroxide, and proteins are separated by filtration and washing. This protein isolate from soybean or peanut cake can be used in the production of vegetable toned milk, infant foods, protein enriched biscuits and bread. There are a number of other oil seeds which are eaten or used for oil extraction. These include pumpkin seeds, melon seeds and cotton seed. The last is a major source of oil in the cotton growing areas of Asia, Africa and Latin America. In West Africa and elsewhere, shea butter, butternut and several other oil seeds are used in the diet. Most of these grow on indigenous trees. So, students, in conclusion, I would like to say that nuts and oil seeds are very important sources in our daily diet of various nutrients, because they are extremely rich sources of what we call the unsaturated fatty acids, especially the monounsaturated fatty acids, and which have multiple uses like a cardioprotective effect, and they are also high in vitamin, fiber, vitamin E and fiber, and therefore these have not only a cardioprotective effect, but they also contain various phytosterols or plant sterols plus antioxidants, and which protect against various diseases like cancer, development of gallstones, etc. And therefore, including a handful of oil seeds or nuts in our daily diet, which comes to on an average 30 grams, gives us multiple health benefits.